She is there.
No.
Sarah's been sick. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Sarah's been sick. So she's trying to get some tutoring work. I'm sorry, I just served you like that. I just hold tight to the voice. We did things that.
Oh, God, yeah. Getting tired. Very good. Yeah.
I know person.
I don't know.
I know person.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Remember the baby dolls that were like playing around?
Yeah, there was one break over there, and then one out there.
Somebody like flipped it upside down. Ripped its head off.
It was sitting there.
Okay, so like the other curlies, this curlies also has a lovely story too, but it's a little bit of a happier ghost that hangs around in these parts. Kind of like in the West ones, a young lady took a tumble on these curlies also, but she happened to just be kind of running down the stairs one night and tripped and fell and ended up having a serious head wound and ended up dying. So, it's also said that when you're walking on these at midnight, sometimes you might feel a presence with you, but unlike the West one, she tends to try to push you towards the wall so that you can hopefully avoid tripping down the curlies. So,
Always hold the banister.
always hold the banister. And this one's the better ones late at night, under influence.
No, I have that song stuck in my head. Thanks, God.
Which song?
Baby, it's cold outside.
I have that New York song stuck in my head.
I can get another song stuck in your head.
Drew! It's a Drew!
Poltergeist.
What's going on? Go for it.
Oh, no, I can't.
Well.
Fine then, Drew.
What does he do to stay in shape? Does he work out? He plays lacrosse.
Ooh, Mary's Garden.
No, he
Are you? Well, you're engaged, right?
Okay. All right. So this is Mary's Garden, and I'm sure you guys have all been acquainted with the fact that if you go into the garden, you will either not graduate or will not graduate on time. So don't let anybody push you into the garden. That also unfortunately counts for some of my friends can attest to. So yeah, if you do get pushed in by somebody, do pull them in after you. But there's usually a reason for most of our ghost stories or anything that we tell you you shouldn't do something. And part of the reason that we think that that tradition of walking into the garden and then finding yourself not graduating on time plays out for people is because there is a ghost that inhabits this garden, and it's one that I think is one of the ones that you should respect a little bit more. And this garden is dedicated to Mary Bolins, who was a class secretary, and that's one of the major roles. You kind of are there to unify your class, and you keep everybody coming back for reunions. And generally, it's somebody that everybody knew and everybody was pretty close to, and was generally a really good person. And apparently, she also worked at the school for a while and was very popular while she was here, kind of like a Dean Wallace figure, like somebody everybody knew, everybody went to. And she used to sit in this garden while she was here and eat her lunch. And everybody would walk by and say, "Hey, how are you doing, Mary?" Blah, blah, blah. And so when she finally died, they dedicated this garden to her. And, it's been like this for quite a while now. And it used to be, before we had the red brick wall, that campus was a lot more open. A lot more people could get onto campus and exit campus without people knowing that they were here. And one night, a girl was coming back through the garden, and a man was following her. And she started screaming when she, turned to ask him, like, "What are you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. And he just started coming after her. She started screaming. And people up in the building could hear her, but when they went to look out into the window, she'd ran into the garden, and all they could see was a big flash of light. And the girl made it into the door, into the building. They promptly called security, and they asked, what had happened, what had happened, what had happened. And when security came to find him, the man was collapsed in the garden. And the girls swore that what had happened, and what the girls had seen when they saw the flash of light, was that the ghost of an elderly woman had blocked him and attacked him to allow her time to get to the door. So the only circumstances in which you can enter the garden are if you're in danger, and it's supposed to offer you a kind of protection. So out of respect for the fact that this is a place you enter under times of things going wrong, not under just like, "Oh my God, like I'm really drunk and walking through the garden," we try not to enter the garden under circumstances other than you're in trouble. So she's a very positive ghost, and other people who've lived in Moore have seen flashes of light every now and then. There's always a story, like once every couple of years, of somebody seeing a flash of light out here. And that is a story of Mary's garden.
And while we're here by the library, besides being the creepiest place on this campus, and not really knowing many ghost stories about it, Megan, who I talked earlier about Little Blue Girl, there is a first-year gentleman who came up to me just a couple weeks ago and told me, he'd been on my ghost tour and he had heard the story of Little Blue Girl, and that a friend had come to campus to visit him, and that he was hanging out in the library on the second floor, and he knew nothing of the story, but he came back and he was just like, "I swear I saw this little girl who was blue in the stacks, and she was pointing at books and like giggling and looking at me." And the gentleman was like, "Were you under the influence of something?" And he was like, no, and he'd never heard the story before. So apparently Little Blue Girl has moved from Maine and has started to hang out in the library in the stacks. So be on your whereabouts.
You're giggling.
Okay.
Alright, we're ready? Let's continue. So either way, you can follow this way or follow that way. We're gonna head down that way.
Our first week, she's like, "Oh, it's really good. You're not supposed to do this." We're like, "Oh, yeah." I'm like, "I'm not over there."
And if you doubt that the whole not graduating on time thing works, Carl Sakis, and this isn't the garden, but this is the even odd stairs. Carl Sakis was hanging up a banner for an odd day and accidentally walked up the wrong stairs. Now he's graduating a year early, which wasn't, it's just, it's not the year he intended to, but he suddenly he switched from even to odd. And I was like, "Hey, you jerk. You should be more awesome like us." You're an odd, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
You're evil.
Hey, be nice. Down, boy, down. You want me to push you down these stairs?
Thank you,
You
Kay.
can become another ghost. I'll hunt you. And then I'll have a friendly poltergeist who just
Oh no, it will not be friendly. It will be suddenly Kay, the terror of all odds.
What I want is Pip. I need my little buddy.